Hello and welcome to another Pauper video. I'm Kalikaiz. Today I am doing Decks of the Week. This is not just one, but 5 weeks of Magic Online 5.0 trophies to comb through, see what all the spiciest things are, and how the meta has changed since the High Tide ban. That did happen on November 10th, and we have a few weeks after that to see if the meta changed in any specific way. We also had Avatar: The Last Airbender, which came out, adding some new cards to the format and improving some decks. We had some decks kind of pop up out of nowhere or return from the grave. So let's go ahead and get into it. Well, I guess before that, make sure to check out patreon.com/Kalikaiz if you want sideboard guides for the decks I like to play. You can get early access to videos on the YouTube page by hitting the join membership. It's not too expensive and it really helps me out a ton. I don't have anything else to promote, I guess, right now, so let's hop into it. So the first week we are going to look at was October 26th through November 1st. So these are going to be the first 2 weeks pre-Tide ban. Mono Red Madness was on top with Mono Blue Terrors in second place, and then a High Tide in 6.4%, so in third place in that week. Colgate making some comeback, and then Elves and Affinity coming back from there. The next week after that, Mono Blue Terror was on top with Mono Red Madness in second place. Mono Blue Terror just had a ton of trophies that week. Spy Combo in third place, Elves, Red Black Madness, and then Arcane Tide, pretty much non-existent. And it will be non-existent for the rest of time, apparently, because on the November 9th through 15th, we had the ban on the 10th. There was a single High Tide trophy from yours truly on the morning of November 10th, so it felt good to get that last possible one. Then the metagame for this week was Elves on top, Jund Wildfire, Mono Red Madness in third, Mono Blue Terror in fourth. Elves had been doing very well into the metagame where Mono Blue Terror was very prevalent. Elves kind of beats that deck up. Jund Wildfire, I think people were really excited to try it out. I guess after the perception that High Tide was putting it down, although at 2% of the metagame, I don't know how often you were going to be looking to pair into it, even if it was a bad matchup. The next week, we had Mono Red Madness. So this was November 16th to the 22nd. Mono Red Madness on top at 14%. We have two grindy controlled with Gardens and Jund Wildfire. So 20% of this week's metagame being grindy controlled. People still trying to try that out. And Mono Blue Terror coming down a bit with Rally Red in 5%. I guess, maybe people are able to play control again now that they have no fear of the Tide. On the last week, so just the previous week to this, Mono Red Madness at 14.5% and Rally Red at 10.5% with Mono Blue Terror in third, and then Elves and then Gardens. Jund Wildfire back at 3% of the metagame. I guess it's not that good of a deck. And we had so much of the metagame being Mono Red. We had one day where half of the trophies were Mono Red decks, and I honestly think that these decks are just hyper good. Maybe there's something where Mono Blue Terror was putting down Tide and then was able to fight against Mono Red, but we're probably still going to see very similar to the pre-ban metagame where you've got Mono Red, Mono Blue, some Elves. Obviously Gardens, people are enjoying picking that back up. Let's go ahead and get into the deck lists. First, we'll look at my High Tide trophy. Boom, boom. Make it a little bigger. At this point, I had decided to play some Reach Through Miss and some Hidden Strings. Reach Through Miss just being really good in the post-board games. Salute, High Tide. We'll see you in the next. Then moving on from there, picking out a lot of more spicy decks. We had on November 10th a Mono Black Packdoll trophy. So this player is playing an artifact sub-theme, or I guess main theme, with Packdoll Terror being one of the win conditions, Refurbished Familiar and Mirror Enforcer. Bunch of removal and card draw. They have Vampire's Kiss, which is cool. It can make 2 triggers for the Packdoll Terror and gain you some life. They have Blood Fountain and Candy Trail to gain life as well. Grim Bauble is a way to kill small creatures. The next Mono Black deck was pretty sweet. This is kind of a Mono Black Gardens deck. They're playing 4 Refurbished Familiar and 4 Skullcap Snail, which when it ETBs, target opponent exiles a card from their hand. Kind of similar to Refurbished Familiar. Then they can pick that up with the Okiba Gang if they really want to, or they can User Eviscer's Insider Fanatical offering, sacrificing their creature and get it back with the Blood Fountain and replay it again. So if you want to be a hand-hate mono-black control deck, this could be the one to pick. Moving up, we have Data Pusher, got a 5/0 with Eggstron. This Eggstron list is not playing the Frantic Salvage, which is a way to loop the deck. Instead, they're playing 4 Pact Altair and 4 Black Mage's Rod with a bunch of cheap things. So they're just trying to slap stuff on the table and kill your opponent at some point. Pact Altair drains and Black Mage's Rod pings. So you can really go over the top of them quite quickly if you get your engine online. The next Tron deck that trophied, this is my Eggstron. This is a blue-based Eggstron playing Compulsive Research, which is based off of Birdman or Entropy 263's deck. And here I chose to play 4 Impulse. I found that the problem with Tron was that it was very difficult to get your mana online. And by playing 4 Impulse, we were more likely to be able to Impulse on turn 2 off of like your stars, hit your Tron lands, and then kind of like move on from there. This one is playing Frantic Salvage, which is a way to put any number of target artifacts from your graveyard on top of your library, allowing you to have more big storm turns or potentially just not decking. The next Tron deck, we're entering the big guy Tron phase of the deck lists. This is Mono Green Tron from Ovilha Al. I believe I covered this on camera, but this is a Fangren Marauder Mono Green Tron. They've got Fangren Marauder, Generous Ant, Annoyed Allosaur, and Maelstrom Colossus. So it's Mono Green Cascade Tron. The other cool thing is they're playing 2 Rush of Knowledge, which can draw a lot of cards when you have one of your big creatures in play. They also have Pinnacle Kill Ship. ETBs deals 10 damage to up to 1 target creature, and you can station it to make it a creature. Pretty cool. The next Tron deck was a red-green Tron deck, basically the same kind of deck. The red in the main is for Breath Weapon. They have a lot of life gain creatures. So Generous End, Boulder Branch Golem is a life gain creature. It gains 6 life on ETBs. You paid 7, or you can prototype it for 4. Brambleworm. Wretched Griff is not a life gain creature, but it is a sweet way to draw cards in this kind of deck. And then Maelstrom Colossus. They're also playing the Pinnacle Kill Ship. Cool. The next Tron deck is a Teamer Tron, which we haven't seen in a long time. But this player is choosing to play Teamer for 4 Moldrifter. They've got Writhing Chrysalis as your sweet Teamer card, and Cascaders with Boarding Party, Allosaur, and Maelstrom Colossus. Maybe they lived the dream of playing Colossus into Allosaur, into Boarding Party, into Moldrifter. That would be absolutely bonkers. If you ever do that, make sure to send me a screenshot. It'd be really cool. This is a gambler deck for sure, but really, really sweet. Moving up, we have a Goblin Combo from Campo. This was before Avatar: The Last Airbender was released. I guess he was just trying it out. Don't see anything too crazy here. It's a pretty normal Goblin Combo deck. And let's see. We had a Goblins deck from Bako de Gaia, who went 25th on the 20th at a 1-4. So a small challenge, apparently. They were trying to play things like Dai Indoctrination in the sideboard and Azula Always Lies as things to fetch with your first day of class, but it doesn't seem quite as good at the moment. I'm sure someone will figure it out. Okay, one of the decks, now we're entering the affinity phase of the deck lists. So this is Rakdos Affinity from Against, or Alexander Weber of the PFP. He created a red-black affinity deck. This one actually double trophied for him on that day. You can see here. Blockwork Percussionist, Frogmite Refurbished, and Mirror Enforcer, backed by a bunch of Gallblast and Lightning Bolts and a bunch of card draw. Seems strong. The next affinity deck was Blue-White Affinity from Ivor and OP. I covered this for a video, and this is trying to play kind of the Blue-White Glitters using Summon Chocomogue instead of your Glitter. And you're going to go wide and then try to go through your opponent. I found it kind of lackluster. So then I tried an Esper version, and Heterodox actually trophied with a very similar version to my Esper affinity. So this is playing a similar game plan, not playing Chocomogue. Instead, we're splashing black for Refurbished Familiar, and he's picking up my plan with 8 ninjas. So you have 4 Moon Circuit Hacker, 4 Ninja of the Deep Hours, which can pick up and replay your Refurbished Familiars. I just posted another video of this deck this week, which was really fun. And picking up your refurbished familiars to your ninjas is really overpowered. Some weird tech here is one reverse engineer as an improvised draw 3. The one great sword of tier is a cool card. It's an equipment for 1 and a white. Whenever the creature that is equipped attacks, you put a +1/+1 counter in it and tap up to 1 target creature defending player controls. It equips for a white. So that means you can make your Ornithopter bigger. You can get creatures out of the way so your ninjas attack, and then keep slapping them with a refurb. We had okay, so now I'm looking at a couple of decks that are using avatar cards. This is the first deck that trophied with avatar cards using abandoned attachments. It's 1 and a hybrid, blue-white, or blue-red, sorry, or you may discard a card if you do draw 2 cards. This means that it's a instant and sorcery way of discarding your Sneaky Snacker to get it back, and it can synergize with the deck. They've got Abjure, Bone Shards, Hard Evidence. They're playing basically an Abjure Dimir control deck. Cryogen Relic sacrificing to Abjure is pretty sick. We have another player playing Abjure in Dimir Terror, Ichitaro. And we also saw Abandoned Attachments in a Dimir Fae by Barf, but I didn't see it in the lists, so I didn't pull that one up. But this is just the same Dimir Terror with Sneaky Snacker. Abandoned Attachments make Sneaky Snacker much easier to cast, or not cast. You're going to just pitch it and get it back. Then it's a normal Dimir Terror deck from there. Now we're going to start entering the spicy decks. Naya Ephemerate. Interesting. Actually, this is Turbo Initiative. A red, green, white Turbo Initiative trying to slam Avenging Hunter and Goliath Paladin fast. Cosmic Charles likes to work on this deck, so I was really excited that he had trophied with it on October 26th. And it's pretty straightforward. Burning Tree Emissary filters mana and is a body. Simian Spirit Guide gives you fast mana. Commodore is another emblem. Chrysalis is a big creature you can use. They have 4 Ephemerate and 4 Kick in the Door. When they showed this on their YouTube channel, they said that Ephemerate is kind of a protection spell and also can pressure the opponent by ephemerating your Goliath Paladin or whatever. And then Kick in the Door just makes your initiative plan way stronger, because once you're in the initiative dungeon, if you venture again from Kick in the Door, it pushes you further into that dungeon. If you have no initiative online and you play Kick in the Door, you actually have to adventure into the main 3 dungeons. So you don't want to play this until after your initiative hits the battlefield. Let's see. Nothing too spicy in the sideboard. Pretty normal. Moving up. Here's a very spicy deck from Brivenix. We saw them do this previously with a blue, green, black version of fairies, but this is a teamer version of fairies playing a bunch of things to cycle in order to make Mass Vandal better. This is a way to make fairies good against affinity. You have Mass Vandal, which is a fairy in your deck. You're going to be able to ninja it by picking it up with the Moon Circuit Hacker or Ninja the Deep Hours, and it turns on your Spellsetter Sprite, so you can get rid of all those pesky bridges. Congrats to Brivenix for your trophy. I want to point out Rampant Toph. They were able to 5-0 on October 31st on Halloween, nonetheless, with mono black control. This is no crazy artifact synergy. This is straight up mono black control playing Kumbaj Witches, Grey Merchant of Asphodel. They're also playing a Troll of Khazad-dûm plus Exhume package, and they have Oubliette as their way of getting creatures off the battlefield. They've got Dark Ritual, interesting. Toxin Analysis plus Crypt Rats. That's a good way to sweep the board. They have a Curse of Marauder in the sideboard, a 1 of Wrench Mind, Campfires. Probably the Campfire was for High Tide, I imagine, at that point. We've got 4 decks left. Let's see what the spice is. We have a Caligate type deck from Emo Goblin on a couple weeks ago on the 25th. I covered this on my channel. This is a Glinhawk plus Core Skyfisher picking up your Cryogen Relic playing Carrot Cake. I don't think I covered this on previous decks of the week, but it's a cool take on the Caligate package, where instead of playing Brainstorm Squadron Hawk, you're playing Glinhawk and Cryogen Relic. Also, Carrot Cake can spit out some blockers or creatures that you can pump up with your Basilisk Gate to get in for lethal. Spiciest deck number 3, Jeskai Affinity from Rob 85 Ticks. Maybe they're from Texas. This is Jeskai Affinity. They're playing Glinhawk, Skyfisher, and Cryogen Relic, plus Synthesizer. So they have 7 really good things to pick up. 3 Navigator's Compass in the main deck for life gain. I think that's a good plan in this mono red format. And the way that they are getting other artifacts, instead of playing Thraben Inspector, it looks like they're playing Voldair and Epicure here. And then they have Frogmite and Mirror Enforcer. So Voldair and Epicure is a way to potentially get some extra damage in. And only 4 Galblasts, 2 Thraben Charm, and 4 Thoughtcast. Sideboard has Hydropyro, that is stock in Pauper, some Thraben Charm, Destroy Evil, and Cast into the Fire. That's a deck that I'd like to pick up. If anybody's played that, let me know how you enjoyed it. Spiciest, number 2, BNP. BNP is back at it again with mono green Stompy. They're playing Cloakwood Swarmkeeper, which is a awesome creature for a single green. It says whenever 1 or more tokens enter the battlefield under your control, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. And then they're playing, let's see, here it goes. This is the craziest thing. They're playing 8 Slime Against Humanity. Amazing. So Slime Against Humanity makes tokens, which makes your Swarmkeeper bigger, potentially makes your Experiment 1 bigger. That's amazing. I love it. Dusk Shell Crawler. It says ETB, put a +1 counter on target creature, and every creature you control with the +1 counter has trample. So that synergizes with your slimes, makes them have trample. They have Thirsting Roots to proliferate onto their creatures. Smell Fear to proliferate or fight. Wow, sick. And then Hunger of the Hell Pack. This is a mono green counters stompy nonsense. I love it. Maybe I'll try this for a video, but we all know how good I am at aggro. So here it goes. Spiciest deck of the week. A lot of people have told me about this one, but this is red-green Landfall. MTG Bozo. They were able to 5-0 with Landfall. I never saw that one coming. This might be the first 5-0 I've ever seen with Landfall. They have the Landfall creatures, a Akum Hellhound. It's an 0-1 for a red. Landfall gets +2/+2. Nest Invader is to bridge the gap, apparently. Plated Geopede is a 1 in a red with First Strike, has Landfall +2/+2. Sabotender, whenever land you control enters, this creature deals damage to each opponent. Chilling Tree Folk, when it comes into play, you can return up to 2 target land cards from your graveyard to your hand. Gets you back some of your fetches. And then Writhing Chrysalis holds down the fort in the red-green decks, of course. They have Crop Rotation to search out things like Escape Tunnel, maybe, or Sajuri's Step to give a creature protection. Let's see, Lightning Bolt, Blessing, Battle Rage, Adventuring Gear. They have 12 fetches with Escape Tunnel, Sheltering Landscape, and Twisted Landscape. An Escape Tunnel is pretty cool here because it has the ability to sacrifice to give a creature with power 2 or less unblockable. And all your creatures have power 2 or less until you start playing fetches. So let's say you had a Akum Hellhound on turn 1. Turn 2, you play Sheltering Landscape and crack it. Now you're attacking for 4 on turn 2. On turn 3, you play another Twisted Landscape, crack it, Battle Rage, boom. They're dead. Okay, so that was the decks of the week. We covered 5 weeks on the Magic Online metagame. The ban of High Tide didn't change things too much. We got to see a little bit of spice. Let me know if there was anything that I missed that you think stood out, and I will see you in the next video.